Hi and welcome back to Freeman Channel. Today we're going to be creating a dungeon from scratch using D&D's Dungeon Master Guide. When I play my own campaigns, I usually create my dungeons from scratch using what the characters are doing at the moment or what my next story beat is. We're doing something a bit different today because this dungeon is not for me. As part of my day job, I'm a teacher, and today is the second time I'm going to be opening a D&D club in a school. Last time I was lucky enough to have students who already knew how to play the game, so I just had to supervise them and then do their own thing. This time is going to be different. I'm going to have a lot of students who don't know how to play the game, and I need something simple and straightforward for them to be able to learn the game and enjoy themselves. From experience, I know that most of the students are going to be boys between 13 and 14, so I know that they're not going to be very interested in the storyline or any kind of big plot. What they want is just a dungeon to explore, to find treasure, and to kill some goblins. So that's what we're doing today. As you can see right now, I'm just rolling the dice to create the different rooms of the dungeon. The Dungeon Master Guide is very good for that because it gives you all you need to create your own dungeons. You just need a couple of dice, a pen and a paper. As you can see, the first step was to build the different rooms, so every time I rolled for the dimensions of the room and also for the number of doors in that room. Now I'm rolling to know what each room is exactly. The first room I rolled is an observatory, so it already gives me an idea of what we're going to look for in this dungeon. As I go forward, we also add a dining room, for example, a reception room, as well as a library and a temple. I also roll for a cell and a guard's room. So already I've got some ideas of what's going to happen here. It's going to be the manor of a very wealthy nobleman who is also a bit of a scientist because he had a big telescope in his observatory room to look for the stars and space. But because he is so rich, he's going to have some guards to protect him and also a couple of rooms for him to entertain his guests. At that point, when I've got the name of each room, I start rolling to know exactly what is happening in each of them. Using the Dungeon Master's Guide, I'm going to be rolling for two things for every room. The first one is the current state of the chamber. Is it burned? Is there any issue? Or is it still a room the way it is supposed to be? And also I'm going to be rolling for the chamber contents. Is there a monster? Is there treasure? Is there any kind of traps? That give me an idea of what to expect for each chamber and also what to expect of the Dungeon Master when he will be running the game. So I spend a couple of minutes just going through that with the dice and writing it down as I go. As you can see, sometimes I'm going to be rolling the dice several times because sometimes I just don't like what is going on. For example, several times I've rolled traps instead of monsters, which is not very interesting to me. I would rather have more rooms with more monsters so that the kids can have fun and can just start combat immediately. Before I even started putting pen on paper, I had decided on 4 different types of monsters to live in the dungeon. We've got hobgoblins, hobgoblins captains, goblins, and goblin captains. So every time I roll for monsters in the room, I'm going to either roll a d4 or a d6 to decide how many exactly are in that room. The first 3 rooms I'm going to be adding goblins because they are the easiest ones to kill. And then, as we enter more into the dungeons, we get more and more difficult enemies and bigger numbers. Sometimes I'm going to add traps into the dungeon with what kind of trigger it is, what the effects are, and how deadly it is. It gives me a proper idea of what to expect in the rooms and what to tell my DMs to play. Little by little, the dungeon is starting to take form. Now I've got a proper idea of what to expect and what I'm going to be writing for the kids to play. I really enjoy how easy it is to be building that dungeon. It's very straightforward, but I still like the process and I'm really enjoying it so far. Even though I have to roll the dice so many times and flip between pages every time. Maybe there's a faster way to do it, but at the moment I haven't found it yet. That's okay though, that's part of the job. I'm leaving the treasures for the last part of the process because it's in a different part of the Dungeon Master Guide and I would rather not turn back so many pages at once. So I create all the rooms first and then I will come back and add the treasure for each of them. Some of them tell me I've got treasures, some of them tell me there's nothing, but I don't want this to be happening. So I'm going to be rolling to know what each enemy is going to be having in their pockets. Most of the time it's only going to be a few copper or silver pieces. I'm also going to be rolling for treasure in each of the rooms where it says so. Most of the time it's going to be gems of a value between 25 and 100 gold pieces, but they can also find some artifacts and some magic items. Thankfully for me, the Dungeon Master Guide has tables for each of them, so I just have to keep rolling and see what's happening. Since they are not high enemies, we're not going to find big treasures. The items are not of the best values, but we still have some scrolls and a lot of potions that the characters can keep for the next adventures. It's pretty great because it teaches the kids how to use investigation, for example, look for traps, all that kind of stuff. Once everything is done, I will go into Inkarnate and I will start creating the map so I can then print it on big paper and use it with the kids as a map. It also makes it look so much better and I'm giving life to each of the rooms with the furniture. Although one of the rooms was supposed to be a dining room, with the hall and the reception room it becomes a bit redundant, so instead I decided to create a kitchen. And that's about it. We've got a full map, we've got enemies, I just have to create some item cards and we will be good to go. Check on the final results at the end to see what the maps look like. Thank you so much for following me on this journey and I hope you like the dungeon. If you want to see more of this, please subscribe. I post every week on this channel. Thank you and goodbye.